This is Bombay Beach, a small beach town on the edge of the Salton Sea. Today, the shoreline has receded drastically, exposing thousands of acres of lake bed and taking with it much of the wildlife and tourism that once flourished in the area. Let's go back in time to learn about the history of the Salton Sea and how it got where it is today. Over thousands of years, the low-lying depression in the desert known as the Salton Sink alternated between lake and dry lake bed. Native Americans say the ancient lake dried up in the 1500s. Let's move to the right to see how the Salton Sea we know today was created. In 1905, heavy rainfall and snowmelt caused the Colorado River to swell, breaking through an irrigation canal, and water flowed into the Salton Sink. The area flooded for over a year and a half, forming the Salton Sea. When the floodwaters submerged the South Pacific Railroad tracks, the railway line had to be moved. The area grew through the 1900s, as people flocked to the Salton Sea for its recreation and pristine beaches. Let me introduce you to Lana Hall. Her family established the first resort at Date Palm Beach in 1927.
There was the tourism which happened before our time in the 20s and the 30s, when they had the boat races down there and people flocked down. The newspapers in Los Angeles were advertising that the motor car was new, as they called the motor car. And people would get out in their touring cars and drive someplace, and this was a destination.
In 1928, Congress designated the Salton Basin as an area to store runoff from farmland. The Salton Riviera grew through the 50s and the 60s. The California Department of Fish and Game stocked 30 types of fish in the lake in 1951, making it one of the most productive fisheries on the West Coast. Linda Beale grew up in the area and often visited the Salton Sea with her family.
It was just packed with people. All your friends were going down there. Different people had ski boats and different kinds of skis. The movie stars all went down there. Frank Sinatra, the Rat Pack, the Beach Boys played at the yacht club. Just the Marx Brothers, Desi and Lucy.
More than 1.5 million people visited the Salton Sea in its heyday, more than Yosemite for annual tourism. In the 1970s, heavy flooding from tropical storms Kathleen and Doreen shut down establishments along the shore of the Salton Sea. After the lake reached a high point in the 1990s, its levels began to decline as the amount of water delivered from farm fields decreased. The lake also grew saltier, leading to the die-off of fish, birds, and other wildlife, a part of the Salton Sea ecosystem. Today, lake levels are subsiding, as water is increasingly diverted to urban areas. A 2003 water transfer deal temporarily sustained the lake with mitigation water from the Colorado River. But water is getting cut off in January of 2018. That means the Salton Sea will begin to dwindle at an alarming pace. To understand the scientific processes that are changing the sea, go to the Science Behind the Sea experience.